Yeah, I know it's windy as fuck, dude. It's crazy. This just started, and sorry about it. I wish that it wasn't so windy, because then you could hear me a lot better next time. And I didn't have time to move all my stuff into my trailer where it's insulated, and yeah. Anyway, so today I'm here to talk about something that's asked to me a lot. And it's in a form of a lot of different questions, because it's a really complicated subject matter, which is claiming your home, your space, territory, whatever, in an anarchist environment, which is something that I did. So in case you are unfamiliar with me and my channel, I moved into Slab City Library 5 years ago, and built it up, and it became my home. And a lot of people ask oh, who gave it to you? Where did you get it from? Why is it yours? So I wanted to just address that to you guys. And again, I'm totally off grid, and even having my own internet here and power is a feat of ingenuity. So, alright. So, one thing that a lot of people ask me, why is the library yours? How did you get it? So, like I addressed in my vlog yesterday, it had been abandoned for a long time, and I just kind of moved in. But the things that people didn't know about just moving in was that there was a lot of things that I had to do after that, such as there was a couple of people that were staying here at the time, and the library was much smaller than it is now. It was just a couple rooms, and it was falling apart, and there were two people who were occupying it, and had been for a short amount of time, and they were literally picking wood off of the walls and books off of the shelves to start their cooking fires. That was kind of a challenge for me, because they felt that they had superiority because they had been here for longer. So one of them kind of kept to himself and stayed out in the yard and whatever, and I had to actively keep him from pulling the library apart and burning the wood from it and the books. And the other person tried to insist that she was the true librarian and had been a librarian, and she was just silly. So she would try to show me up all the time and act like she was doing more for the library than I was. She'd complain super loudly about all the dust on the books, how she's sacrificing her physical health to take care of the library, and she'd always go on and on about that. I knew that she wouldn't last, because the summer is incredibly hot, and it drives people away, and she had a lot of health problems. So if you have a lot of health problems, Slab City in the summertime is really not the place for you, because people die. So I figured it would only be a matter of time before these people fucked off. And I just kind of kept my head down and kept the library clean and safe, and just didn't try to make waves. And eventually they did leave while I was first occupying the space. And even before the summer came, during the springtime, people that felt threatened by my presence for whatever reason would start a lot of rumors about me. There was only a few people. Most people were really cool, but there were a few people who took it upon themselves to try and make my life difficult. And I also had a couple of the worst neighbors in history, and that made things a lot more difficult. It took almost 2 whole years of occupying this space for rumors to start dying out and people to start accepting that it's my space. There was a lot of times when people would challenge it, my worst neighbor ever Ray, I think you remember him from one of my videos. I actually made a citizen's arrest of him a few years ago, and he had pissed off so many people in town. He would come into my house and tell me that it's not my house and I don't live here, and he would try to challenge me. So it took about almost 2 years of occupying this space for rumors to die down, people to start respecting me as an actual slabber. And that's what brings me to the next point, is that to become a true slabber, as it were, this isn't like set in stone. There's not like a slabber Bible or anything like that, but in general, if you spent 2 consecutive summers in the slabs, like, you can call yourself a slabber. Because like, doing 1 summer is one thing, but like coming back for a second, then you can consider yourself a slabber. That's, what is a slabber? It's somebody that can fucking hack it out here for 2 years, basically, and continues to come out here after that. Because, you can come in and be like, I'm a slabber now. Like, that's not how it works, because it's an endurance game. I chose to live on the outskirts of town because in the middle of town there's a lot of people, and where there's a lot of people, obviously there's going to be a higher rate of bullshit. So I'm on the edge of town, and that suits me good. But still, there are people that come out through here, and most thieves in Slab City are just opportunists. They scare easy, and they're just low-level, like, raiders, like, in video games. Like, they're just low-level baddies. It's not a big deal. So you throw a rock at them, and they scatter in the night, whatever. And it's not a big deal. Yeah, there's fucking weirdos that try to steal from you, but mostly they'll just look for if you've left your shovel out in the yard. You know what I mean? Like, if you just leave your stuff laying around, like, people are going to be tempted to take it. You know, it's just human nature. You can't tempt people and get mad at them for it. So what I've done is create more clear barriers. And I also built a fence so people can only come in through one entrance or the other. Building my reputation over these past years has really been a big deterrent for opportunists as well. I don't play around. The population of Slab City is different during different seasons. Like in the winter time, during the on season, there's like a couple thousand people out here that are here to party when it's nice and cool. And about this time of year is the end of the season, but it's been unusually cold right now. And during the summer, there's only about 150 year-round residents, along with a handful of people that are trying their first summer, which is always really entertaining because every year you get people who are like, I'm going to be a real slabber now, and I just moved here, and I'm going to stay here forever. And it's like, to people that have been here, it's like, yeah, okay, all right, we'll believe it when we see it. It's kind of fun taking bets on like who will last how long. Yes, the desert is a harsh mistress indeed, especially when you're living off-grid. I'm just going to talk on this one, like how I created my own address and recognized business place as just like a salvage library in the middle of a desert on an abandoned military base, which I'm squatting. So it was kind of tricky because I looked into it and I found out that the system kind of verifies based on itself. So if you can get your address in the system in any way, they'll use it to reference it. Like if I started paying some kind of bill that proves that I've been living in a space, I can bring that to a bank or the post office and open a bank account or a post office. And once I do that, then I can then open up other accounts and stuff too. Or when I was going to like government offices, I would write down my made up address, 555 Rosalie Drive, and just insist, like when they would ask, are you homeless? I'd say, no, my address is 555 Rosalie Drive. And I would keep saying, like, keep putting it in the system until the system recognized it. And then eventually it got put on Google Maps, and now I can get UPS and FedEx, and I can get deliveries and stuff, and I can open a bank account, and I even got a court summons once, which was pretty funny. And I totally wanted to go, but then they ended up not needing me, so oh well. And I don't know what next, but I mean, it's the first step toward kind of owning a space in the eyes of the law, I guess. And as far as the system's concerned, this is my legitimate home address, which is kind of cool. Oh, some of the challenges starting out, I guess I could talk about getting power and stuff. Like when I first came to the library, there was one shitty solar panel, and I guess I started trying to acquire more shitty solar panels through trade and through salvage. Eventually I had pieced together enough of a system to run basic stuff like computers and charge phones. The battery bank was made up of salvaged car batteries. It was I didn't even expect it to last a year, but it lasted like 2 or 3. And then a few years ago I did a fundraiser here on YouTube, and a bunch of my fans donated to set up with 4 Trojan deep cycle batteries and a new inverter and charge controller, which just completely revamped the system. The solar panels are all still the same, but I've added a few more salvaged panels that are in pretty rough condition, but altogether they're pretty good. You know, it's not pretty, but it gets the job done, and that's what I'm all about, is working with what I got. When I first came here, I had just a Chevy 20 conversion van, which broke down the moment I pulled into the library parking lot. It broke down completely, so I couldn't drive it away, and I kind of figured, like, okay, well, I guess this is for real then. I'm staying here, and I had just what was in that van and no savings or anything. If you look back in my old videos, like I think it's my second video, a day in the life of a rubber tramp stuck in slabs, I'm literally standing on a street corner flying a sign so I can get groceries for the week. What I ended up doing when I moved into the library was just I started, basically my angle was I was doing kind of a trade shop out of the library as well, and bartering for things that I needed, and also starting my YouTube channel to help put out the word that I was doing it. And because of my publicity, a lot of people in the area became interested, and they would bring out tons of nice books and food and supplies, and people from my YouTube would send me stuff off my wish list, which was actually a huge part of my survival in that time. I also did some odd jobs here and there to support myself, and I did a work trade at the solar plant for a lot of my building materials, which are really nice industrial building materials that you can see all over the library. I've taken a lot of inspiration from East Jesus, as it were, like, because in that it's a art community at this point. It started out as a camp built by Charles Russell, and you know, he was trying to just, you know, make his weird art and get away from fuckos and, you know, do his own thing. And now it's like this whole huge establishment with tons of art installations and rooms and appliances, and they have a huge power system. So that's kind of where I see this going eventually, is just to keep building onto the space and getting more people involved and building it out, making it better, more livable, so more people will want to stay here and take care of it, so that I can continue traveling when I can, because I am a nomad at heart, and that's what I like to do. If you guys saw my Alaska series, you know that I like to travel hard, and that's kind of my thing. But I also really wanted to stay in one place and just see what I could build if I could, stay here and just put all of my life energy into a thing and see where it grew. And it's still growing, and I would like it to continue growing. Well, that's all I have on that topic for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be doing more live streams and podcasts in the future. Sorry about the garbage quality of this one, but thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate you guys. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't before, and check out my merch. It's linked in my description. And yeah, I guess I'll see you later, guys. Bye.